We are watching President Trump speaking to House Republicans at the Kennedy Center in Washington. The president touted the U.S. operation that led to the capture of Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro, calling it an amazing military feat. He also criticized congressional Democrats who've condemned it as an illegal and dangerous action. Let's bring in ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill and senior Pentagon reporter Luis Martinez for more. Jay, what are you hearing from lawmakers about the operation in Venezuela, and what do you expect in terms of a reaction to this speech?
Well, look, there are still some lingering questions, Diane, despite the fact that the president just briefly mentioned Venezuela there. He touted the operation to capture Maduro, which militarily was a success, but leads to a host of other questions that some lawmakers feel they don't yet have full answers to, which is what is next for Venezuela? Some top congressional leaders started to get answers to those questions last night. There was a Gang of Eight briefing and other top leaders as well. The Gang of Eight are the leaders of the Senate and the House of both parties, as well as the top Republicans and Democrats on the intelligence committees. You also have the top Republican and Democrat on the Foreign Affairs Committee in the House, the Foreign Relations Committee in the Senate. The list goes on and on and on. They got a behind closed doors briefing from senior administration officials last night. And one of the things that emerged from that briefing from the lawmakers I talked to is this understanding that at present, the administration is going to maintain in some form or fashion current officials of the Maduro regime, of the former Maduro regime, in power there. So the former vice president, now the acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, according to what lawmakers who emerged from that room said, it's their understanding that the administration plans to keep her in power and try to eventually move to some kind of a transition where there will be elections held in Venezuela, but there's no real timeline that the administration has given for that. There are some broader questions and some serious concerns, particularly from Democrats that you mentioned, saying that Congress did not authorize any kind of military action in Venezuela. And so in the view of some Democrats, this action to capture Maduro was illegal because there wasn't a congressional authorization for the use of military force. What the administration told congressional leaders last night, what they've been saying for the last few days and weeks here, which is in their view, this is a law enforcement operation, not a military action, and therefore they didn't need congressional authorization. That's setting aside the fact that this was a law enforcement operation, in the words of the administration, that used F-22 and F-35 fighter jets, right? The military was integral to capturing Maduro, but nonetheless, that's the argument the administration has been making to lawmakers who make a stink about the lack of congressional authorization here.
And Louis, how are Venezuelan leaders responding to all of this?
Well, Dan, what we've seen ever since this raid took place on Saturday is a very defiant tone from Venezuelan leadership, particularly Delcy Rodriguez, who is the new acting president of Venezuela, and since Nicolas Maduro has been transferred and captured to the United States. It has been a defiant tone from the interior minister, from the defense minister, you name it. Any senior Venezuelan official has been defiant about standing up to the United States, and particularly this, the concept that is proposed by President Trump, that it is the United States that is in charge, that is calling the shots in Venezuela. But again, we've heard clarifications from Secretary of State Marco Rubio and others. What we're talking about here is the United States exerting pressure through some of the levers that they have, namely that this quarantine, this blockade, as the administration is calling it, of sanctioned oil tankers that were in Venezuelan waters and have apparently moved over the last 2 days. But again, it's the levers and how they can control and work with the new administration that is being headed by Rodriguez. You've heard different characterizations from the president about how the United States can work with Rodriguez. And one of the things that he has said, he's taken a very vocal tone himself, saying essentially that unless she cooperates with the United States, she will pay a fuller price than what Nicolas Maduro has done by being captured in the United States. It's unclear exactly what he means by that. But what we've seen still is this defiance from Venezuelan officials saying that they are a sovereign nation and that what the United States has done is illegal.
All right, Jay O'Brien, Luis Martinez, thank you both.